So how have things been going for you?
Everything's great, Eli. I mean, I was just talking to Elise this morning, and we were just talking about how we got a whole life during the pandemic, And
Ha!
I'll use the word life in all caps because a lot of people are dealing with a lot of situations that are taking away life.
True.
I feel very blessed that I feel like I'm still living a fulfilling life. Very different than what we thought, this time was gonna look like. I thought I'd be about 6 races in this year, but here we are. But life has to go on.
And that's like you. And just in case anybody did not know, we are now in the room with Eli, simply because I'm in my room.
That's right.
My friend, introduce yourself again after that sip of coffee.
My name is Tess Sobominen Marshall. I live here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a runner, I'm a race director, and I'm originally from Gary, Indiana, but I've been in Atlanta for about 10 years. Actually, my 10-year anniversary was this week. This week went fast. My 10-year anniversary of moving to Atlanta was this week. And it might be today, Eli.
Wow.
I think I moved to Atlanta on May 8th.
It's your anniversary.
We're celebrating.
Anniversary.
Yeah, I gotta check the documents, but I'm pretty sure it was either the 7th or the 8th. I'm thinking it was the 8th. So that's me.
So did you imagine yourself when you first got here being in the position that you are, especially when it comes to the running community and your involvement with it and how it's actually affected your life and life choices?
Absolutely not, Eli. If you would have told me in 2010 that 10 years from now, I'd be running marathons, running my own business, married with, I probably would have believed the marriage part because eventually it was going to happen, but married to, a man that I literally met 20 years before, but we never met, knew each other. None of this would have been predicted. And definitely not this current situation that we're in. We wouldn't have predicted this 2 months ago, let alone 10 years ago.
I mean, I came into 2020 like, yeah, I know I'm running this marathon.
Yeah.
This half, I'm gonna do this other half, and I'm gonna train with this half to do this marathon. And so which is really why I'm doing the Zoom video interviews. It's really to get different perspectives from different people of different backgrounds on how it's actually affecting their life, whether it's positive or negative. And so far, you've come in with an energy and you're already saying, well, there's light to this.
Yes.
And so as an individual, how has it affected you? Let's start with negative. What are some of the negative things that have happened from the pandemic, the stay-at-home orders?
I mean, I'm always going to turn a negative into a positive, but from the outside looking in, the fact that I've had to cancel races that we were hosting, I mean, that's what I do. That's my livelihood is, putting on running events. The fact that we haven't been able to meet with our run group for 2 months now. I mean, and, definitely not being able to just go and visit my mom or go visit my friend or, say, hey, everybody's meeting up at this restaurant on Friday because we've had a long week.
Right.
All of those things, we sorely miss. And, financially, not being able to put on races, that's my source of income. So that's definitely a negative, not being able to create revenue. So
even when you bring that up, because you are definitely entrenched in the running community here in Atlanta, how does it feel when you interact with other runners that you've seen, on out there? Like if you've taken your 6 feet distance, those are interesting words.
Yeah.
But when you're out there running, and let's say you out there, have you ran across your friends or anybody? And how does that feel when you're even interacting in that moment?
It's funny you mentioned it because I've literally done all my runs by myself. I think me and Shanta, we ran together once, right in the beginning, right when things started, started all the stay-at-home orders came in. But like you said, we were running and we made sure we were far apart. I even made a funny video about how she, she kind of let me lead. So I was like, oh, you just let me get out here and take all the risk, So it was funny. But that one run is the only time in this whole 8 to 10 weeks that I have purposely run with other people. And then I ran into Ebony Jenkins one day on the Silver Comet, and this was recently. So after we had been, going through this for weeks, and it was the strangest feeling, Eli, because I like wanted to go over and hug her like we would normally do, but I didn't. And it was like, hey, Ebony, like that. And it was weird. And we both acknowledged how strange it was to see, like we were so happy to see each other, but immediately knew like coming together and hugging wasn't appropriate. And I just, that makes me sad that we've that quickly gotten to that level,
And let me be, transparent with me. Now, I've ran with several of my buddies that I knew from my running organization back on my feet. We've just done a Wednesday run. We've ran together and we've managed to keep the distancing, but that's something we discussed. And I discussed that with Anthony Strayhorn. I did an interview with him. And it's like we can see each other on these Zoom videos and know that that's that person. But what's missing is that tangible physical contact interaction. It's like, especially in our running community, that's huge. And so if you're like not a runner and you're watching this, you're going to miss when we're saying, whoa, to just run by each other.
Yeah.
And only acknowledge from a distance.
Yeah.
It's really like a new whole thought process, because we're normally used to stop, quick hug, dap up, talk 15 minutes. Now you have to make sure that the other person's even comparable.
Yes.
Coming within 6 feet of you, which is a whole new dynamic in the running community. So I feel you on that negative. That's just a huge negative effect.
Yeah, and the question I ask people, sorry, I got my dog down here trying to kill me.
Hey dog, you want to get in? You want to show yourself.
But the thing, and there's my question to you, Jan, like, do you feel like we as runners do that are you scared you're going to catch the virus from someone? Is that the reason why we're hesitant to embrace, or is it just literally this kind of over looming, like?
My answer to that would be in stages. First, like I was introduced to running through a nonprofit organization back on my feet. And we hug all the time. So the physical interaction with running, and then I start doing races and people are right up on each other, hugging, that physical connection has been taken away from me. So I struggle with that.
Yeah.
Now that we're in this and there's a reason why we have to distance, I look at it like I'm as comfortable as the person that's across from me.
Yep.
If you're comfortable hugging me, I'm going to give you a hug. That's just me. I'm naturally like that.
Right.
But if you need your 6 feet, I'm going to give you your 6 feet.
Give them the 6 feet.
If you don't want to run with no one, I'm going to honor and respect the fact that you don't want to run with no one. Yeah. I'm not so much concerned about catching a virus versus am I in a healthy enough condition to fight it off?
Yeah.
Which at the end of the day, I listen to as many medias and people as possible. And it comes down to, well, how well prepared is my immune system for this? Because they're bringing up underlying conditions. And I checked the box on a few of them.
Yeah.
The age group, I'm checking the box. The ethnic group that's dying the most, Black folk, I checked the box. So I'm like, whoa, I'm in that very, susceptible to die group.
Right. Yeah.
So I have to question, well, have I done everything possible to help my immune system? And that's why I feel like, well, running, I'm going outside, I'm running.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm working on, and the thing, now here's a positive, and I'm going to throw it back at you. I've paid more attention to what I'm eating. I've paid more attention to my vitamin intake. I am trying my best to find less stressful activities to do. So news is becoming something that I can only watch one show, one time. That's it when it comes to the pandemic, because it's too much information. It's too depressing. Wait a minute. I do not feel like being boxed in with a verbal fear.
Yeah.
of something that, well, wait a minute, the defense is my immune system. So the positive for me is I've found that I'm not as fearful of catching the disease. I'm more fearful of not being prepared to handle it.
Right.
I've also started doing Zoom videos and talking to people.
There you go.
Redefining myself. So on the positive side from this, what have you learned? How has it helped you as a business entrepreneur? And what do you see yourself taking with you to pay forward and do better with as you move on with this so-called pandemic, and it's not so-called, but the pandemic, and dealing with it in 2021?
Yeah, I love this question, Eli, and I want to be able to answer this question every week. So first, I would just say acknowledge the fact that yes, there are people who are suffering, dying, experiencing hardships with this disease, and we can never overlook that. Just because I am personally not affected, or prayerfully, and thankfully no one in my immediate family is in the ICU, I don't feel the sadness of the disease and the outbreak. So with that in mind, I've felt from the beginning I have an obligation to continue to keep a positive attitude about this, because the worst thing that's happening to me is that I can't go to a restaurant and sit on a patio, and I can't put on a running event. So I've come up with a lot of creative things. You heard the term doing the most. Tess is doing the most, Eli.
I know she is.
I'm I'm getting real good, like you said, at all the platforms, Zoom, Instagram. I've created designer accounts on platforms like Canva. Are you using iMovie?
No, and you're going to have to get my number after this. We're going to have to take me to the level.
Put you in the direction of the platform. I can't say I'm a pro at them, but I'm getting better at them. Anytime that there is a webinar of some type of discussion in the running and race directing community, some kind of discussion or professional development, I'm on it. I mean, I've always loved professional development anyway, but now I have more time for it. I did a free online class on graphic design. And so I've been using all those skills and doing a lot more communication with my community and my audience through emails. And you're on my email list, so you've seen those.
Yes.
Keeping our running community engaged through our social platforms, encouraging people to get out and stay active, connect, positive. Excuse me. We did convert 2 of our races to a virtual running challenge. So that's going to be coming up end of this month and into next month. The race half marathon, which is one of our signature events, we're still planning it, and we're still optimistic that October we'll be able to host some form of a race. So we don't know what it's going to look like, but that's still in the works. We have monthly team meetings. I started my own YouTube channel as well. I've had a YouTube channel, but I started putting little videos on there, just talking about things that are on my mind from a runner and race director community. And then, so a lot of different, I'm just keeping myself busy. I'm actually doing some Zoom 5Ks for a small business. So I'll be leading people through a 5K on Zoom tomorrow morning. I'm really excited about it. It's kind of like a pilot series. Wow. And we're even thinking about, and you'll be on the invite list for this, me and Shanta, who is my director of timing, we're thinking about putting together an invite-only timed race. We need to pull out that timing equipment, and it needs to be used. It's sitting in the garage right now collecting dust. So we might put together a little 25, 30 person timed event, invite only. Y'all come, run your race, go home. So yeah, I mean, I could go on. Every day I wake up with a new idea about something that we could be doing.
and see, that's part of when I started with the concept of, man, I got to do something. I'm going to interview people, see how they're feeling about the pandemic. And then it was like, well, what is it that you're after, Eli? And I have to ask myself, but I realized, well, if we only listen to the news media, we're only listening to one side of the story and what someone is telling us. And I feel like, well, they're just telling me how I need to act and how I need to behave and how I need to think. The honest truth is, But when I wake up in the morning, I'm looking at my cousin, not CNN or MSNBC or Fox. I'm okay. So what we gonna do today? And
Right.
then when I go for a run, I'm considering my run family. I'm on social media looking at my run family, like, okay, where did they go today? And I'm saying, well, wait a minute. We need to figure out a way to how does this, where is the normalcy? Where is it that, what's your solution to how you're dealing with this particular situation? And I feel like the more people I interview, the more bits and pieces of information of how individuals are dealing with this, that we can begin to do a psychological mental healing. Because I still feel that the mental scar is the most lasting scar from this particular situation.
Absolutely.
Because you already had germophobics. Now they're over the top.
They armed and ready. They got a purpose and a cause now, boy.
Look, hey, I'm not gonna want to be near one of them when they're running. They're gonna come out with a mask, some spray, gloves, and an armored suit talking about let's run a 5K.
Yeah.
Really?
Or worse, they're just not gonna come out. Like
and that's one of my I discuss this a lot of time. One of the guys I run with, Mike Schaefer, and we discussed this, like, you know, some people at this point, because of how this thing has been presented, don't want to come outside no more. Yeah. And the worst thing that can happen from this is self-isolation.
Yeah.
Which is why I need to hear from an individual like you that, well, yep, it's like this, it's sad, it's real, it's true, but, and then you spin positive, but I can learn to do this. There are still some things I can do. I'm still running. I run by myself. You know, so you have found a way to deal with the adverse situation in a positive manner and still looking for growth. You know, I was speaking to my younger brother about this the other day, and we did a Zoom interview. And that's the one thing he's harping on is, look, there has to be some way to grow from this. Mm-hmm. He's refusing to let the negative aspects of it keep him down.
Yeah.
And that's the part, that's one of the reasons why I'm like, man, let me talk to Tess, see how she's doing, see what's going on with her. Maybe when someone sees this interview, they hear you speak, that you'll give someone some type of motivation or ideal or confidence to say, well, wait a minute, how do I turn this negative into a positive? Which
Absolutely.
is the first things you said.
Yeah, I mean, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you and to people. And, you know, again, I can't emphasize enough, you know, I want to acknowledge that there are people who are struggling a lot. And sometimes it's hard to see the light when you have so much darkness in front of you, but there is light. There is some light, you know, and, you know, sometimes you just have to seek it, and you got to be receptive to it too, you know?
Yeah. So before I even let you get out of here, we are all doing something together in the running community, and I would love your thoughts on this particular situation. Mm-hmm. I run with Mom.
Yes.
Do you mind expressing yourself about your feelings? I've already done I've already had a run live.
I saw you.
From 2 of my miles, and in my heart, there has to be some growth from this.
Yes.
We can't bring the young man back. We don't have that power. But what do we have the power to do? So I would like to dedicate or give you a few minutes here in this interview to allow you to express yourself and your thoughts with that, whether it's the bad, the good, the middle. You are on the clock and go.
Well, certainly, like you said, the tragedy is that it's done. You know, there's nothing that can be done to bring the young man back. I cannot imagine how his family has been dealing with this, and think about how long they had to deal with it without a national voice. This is 2 months.
Right.
I actually heard about it a month ago from another runner, and I won't say I feel bad, but I do. I feel bad because I was aware of it, but no one was talking about it. And then all of a sudden this week, it just blew up, you know, I believe because of the video being released. So the bright spot out of that is that now that it is has a national focus. I mean, I heard about it on every news platform. I mean, my whole timeline, if I go on my Facebook right now, that everything is I run with Mod. But my true thoughts are that could have been any of us, Eli. That could have been
Oh,
you. That could have been me. We all go out for runs in neighborhoods. We do.
oh,
Everybody does it. I did it
oh,
the other day, and there's several times where I'll be out there running, and again by myself most of the time during this time period, and I might not see anybody the whole time I'm out there. Or I might see, you see the random car, and you don't know who's in that car, and the fact that now we have to add on top of that safety, you know, running in numbers. Now we got to add on top of that somebody might just pull up and just shoot you just because they don't like the way you look. It's extremely sad, and I'm glad that the national attention did cause some action, and I just pray that moving forward, justice will be served for that young man and his family.
absolutely. And that was part of what I was really working to get to, is that we can't bring him back.
Yeah.
But where is growth from this?
Yeah.
We have to deal with this in so many different levels, but the first place we start is with ourselves.
Yeah.
Am I willing to do some violent crime just because of my feelings towards you? Do I feel justified in that? And I find so many levels of wrong with this. But at the same time, I have to ask myself and check myself. Okay, where am I wrong? How do I think about people wrong? Where am I being over judgmental about someone's behavior? And how can I not be that way?
Yeah.
Which is the growth that I hope that resonates with the running community, that spreads to our country. How can I not be that person?
Yeah.
How can I not let my negative emotions get the best of me to where I want to act on them in a very negative, and I'm calling it evil way?
Yeah.
And that's the growth. That's where I see at some point we all have to look at that man, that woman in the mirror, begin to ask these questions of ourselves, and then start holding self accountable for behavior, family members for behavior, communities, because it wasn't just the two individuals that was wrong here. There was a whole legal system that just totally broke down.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So that is really even worse, because it took national attention to deal with something that was just as simple as this is wrong.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, prayerfully, justice will be served for that family, but we're going to have to work on this as a community, as individuals, how we're getting along, how we handle these things. And it's so I'm so thankful that you took your time to chat with me.
Yeah. But I know you probably got a long list of interviews on your agenda. Can I give you some recommendations of a couple people I think you should talk to?
I'm open. I don't have my long list yet because
it's down. You booked up through the end of the month. But I would recommend you talk to Adrienne White. Do you know Adrienne?
Yes, she used to run. She was
on your list.
Who?
Is she on your list?
No. I tell you what. How about you email me a list and you contact them?
I will. I'm gonna put you in touch with Adrienne. I think she would really be great for you to talk to, not just from a runner perspective, but Adrienne's got her hands in a lot of positive things right now.
Oh, and, yeah, she's powerful.
A great voice. We call her. She's gonna be the future mayor of Atlanta one day. We're claiming it.
Hey, well, as far as that's concerned, the current mayor, I know her chief operating officer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
I know her. It's some individuals I haven't reached out to just yet, because I really wanted to. What I'm prefer to do right now is ground level.
Yeah. How
it's really affecting us right here, that it totally affected your business.
Yeah.
In a way that I prefer you express it.
Yeah.
As I go along and I move up, and then we get to people that have some certain positions to where they can make decisions and they can help. By the time I get there, I would like the voice of the community to get out
there. Yeah.
People like me, I was laid off. I'm furloughed. I'm married. Furloughed. Yeah. Now, at the end of the day, I'm saying, okay, I'm not going to sit in the house all day. What can I do? So as an individual, if anybody's in my shoes, I still go to the Salvation Army. I still do a facilitation class. I have to wear a mask, I had to sign a waiver, but I'm going down there because I work with recovery. That's what I do, drug and alcohol recovery. I still go and do the best I can with administering clothes to the unsheltered out there on the street. I've had several people donate clothes, and we go and give it to people that are unsheltered.
Right.
So I've still found positive things to do during this situation. And so I'm looking for ground level, but not only will I like Adrienne to interview, if you got some more people, give them my email.
Yeah, definitely.
You can just say, hey, Eli's doing this, and we're just doing this to talk to the community. I just want the community to speak to one another, because at the end of the day, I feel the solution on the ground level is the community.
Yeah.
We're going to have to figure out.
You're a staple. You're a staple. We appreciate you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk to you.
Oh, yeah. And so when this airs, give me a minute. I'm starting to upload them. As the list grow, I'll be able to do one a day. It's going to my YouTube channel. I will tag you in it.
Thank you.
And just send me a social media message. Contact me via social media and just say, hey, use this hashtag so I can make sure I hashtag you. And by the way, I always do this with my interviews. Okay, what is it that you actually do, and how can people contact you if they want you to promote something or work with them?
Yes, absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm at Running Nerds on Instagram. And then you can follow my 2 different race platforms, at Run Social Atlanta, and then at the race _UC specifically for the race. So those are Instagram, and then Facebook. If you know how to spell my full name, you can find me on Facebook. And you got the same thing, right? People got to know your full name.
On purpose. On purpose.
You can follow same thing at Run Social Atlanta and at the race on Facebook. So yeah, definitely. And I'm always on. So send me a message. I'll respond within 5-10 minutes at the most, Eli? Pretty quick, right?
You're on top of it.
I try.
So as I do this, it's just people think that, hey, they would bring something to the table to add to the people. I'm videoing and I'm talking to anybody that has some type of solution to how we can carry ourselves during this, because I just feel like people have to find themselves at this point.
I love it.
And so that's where we're at. So peace, love, and thank you for being in the room with Eli.
Thank you, Eli. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.